So if we want to understand why we are who we are, or have become who we are today, we have to go back in our history to the very beginning. Because we are put together at the very, very start, as an infant. Like when you come out, born into this life, like this meat package of only emotions, right? You have been fed through your belly before, and now it goes through your mouth, and you start to develop taste and all these things. And positive and negative reinforcement, for example, say that you have to scream a lot to get food, means like a negative thing gives you a positive thing back. Or if you just get fed all the time and like somebody really cares for you and you don't need to put a lot of effort into it, that also becomes this reinforcement that creates the fundament for to stand on. And all this is because in our head we have neurons. Neurons is small contacts that floats around from the beginning, and then they found their spots to put in, like where they should be connected. And in our brain, we have 100 billion neurons. 100 billion. I mean, you can't even grasp it, how much it is. It's like, try to count to 100 billion. You start 1, 2, 3. It will take you approximately 700 years, 3,700 years to count 100 billion. That's how many neurons we have in our head contacts. And all this comes from the environment you come out in. Like you listen to sounds, voices, people talking, you learn so that's how you get what you want. And you copy because you want to adapt, you want to be a part of this herd you've been moved, you're into. You look and you try to fit in, and you do like what everybody else is doing. So say like you are, most children have like some kind of bonding with one parent more than another, and it's not like maybe they like more, but it's like something kind of connection it starts like. And say like, for example, you have a mother who has is complaining a lot, and it's a victim more or less, and every time you help her, she goes, "Oh, you're so kind," and that's a good, like, feels, you get a confirmation of being good and all this. It's a nice feeling, so you like to do that, so you bond with that. Your father maybe looks more like he do his stuff and he feels strong and like doing what he's doing, and but when you grow up, you realize that your mother actually was not weak. She was manipulating everybody with guilt, so she was actually strong. And your father was like afraid of conflict, so he never brought up, and that's why he was like silent or whatever. So you in life later, I talked with a friend about this the other day, and she said like, and I said like, so later in life, you're looking for partners who are strong at the first appearance, but later on you will realize that they're weak inside. And it's exactly what happens to me. She said, like, exactly the people I find, it's so annoying because I'm looking for this strong person, and every time after a while I find out that they're really weak on the inside. Yeah, so that comes from there. And say, for example, you have a family who is complaining a lot, like, or jealousy, or like how could they do that? Well, that's a natural kind of behavior you're going to grow up and have later in life. You're going to complain a lot and think that other people don't understand, or whatever. So that is that. I'm studying, quite interesting, looking into serial killers, and I see 99.9% of all the serial killers have come from an upbringing, a home, where there'd been felt some kind of injustice done to them. It's like a parent or a father who bullied them and told them they're worthless. Hitler had that, like Gacy had that, like telling they were worthless and all these kind of things. Or disciplinarian homes. Well, discipline is, the thing is, like, if you have a person who teach discipline, they usually don't have the other side. Love, compassion, and understanding. So you only get that part, like the part of discipline. So right and wrong becomes very important. And if you don't do the right thing, you have to be punished, right? So so that is like the and all these neurons like gets connected, and if you want to do something about it, which is not impossible, but I've been doing this all my life. That's why I talk about it. It's like you have to really dig down deep and understand where they are. And it's like you have a switchboard like this big with cables, like it's like 100 billion contacts on it. And like when you're a child and you grow up and somebody says, aha, that's funny, and you look at them, aha, that's funny, okay, this one goes this, and fun, there's fun. Your mother said like, oh, I love the color red. So you say, oh, okay, red is a nice color, that's good. So we become the products out of that, and it can be really hard to figure out like why, because we are emotional. So somebody do something and we react with the emotions, and there is no logic to emotions. Emotions just happens. There's like the emotions are a reaction, like so we can many times get confused why we end up in a situation further down the line, because everything is just an action from a reaction, like in life. Maybe many times we cannot control the action, it can just happen something, but the reaction is always ours. And many times when we look back at the reaction and say, oh, that's strange, we can look at the bomb in Hiroshima, for example, and say, oh, how could that happen? That was strange, right? But that is just like the last action taken from a long mathematic kind of like line that have been like changed owners from time to time. And the interesting part is that why did it end up there? Why didn't we go somewhere else with that kind of equations like done instead of ending up there? And that's just so much about us and like things that's done out of emotions. So every time you end up in a situation like you don't like or you don't understand, you can always go back in your history and you will realize why you actually are where you are, or chosen the people you have chosen around you because it makes sense to you. That's how it is. And if you want to change that, you have to go down and find that neuron somewhere and just break it up and put it, say, no, I don't like red, I like green, I want to change, and do that instead.